7 weeks to go. Boom shakalaka. Alright, let's see here. I had a 101 hour work week. Throughout the week, I listened to 2 books and 1 essay by Mark Fisher. Post-Capitalist Desire, Capitalist Realism, and Exiting the Vampire Castle. And Mark Fisher is like a left-wing accelerationist, academic, philosopher guy. Very much in tune with like Marxism. You hear that? It started snowing here. Winter's here officially. So after that, I found this guy's YouTube channel who does like videos on like, he dissects movies and talks about the philosophical ideas behind them, which is really cool, but he only has like 8 videos, so I went through those pretty quick. And then that inspired me to listen to Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is the book that inspired the Blade Runner movie by Ridley Scott. And it's really good. It's a really good book. I actually ordered a physical copy so I could read it as well. And I want to rewatch the movie as well as the Blade Runner 2049 when I come into town this coming weekend. Let's see. There's a lot of differences between the book and the movie. I'm not really going to go into it, but I highly recommend the book. Let's see. I picked up 2 shifts on Saturday. I worked the one, which was only 3 hours, and then I had to take my car to the shop because this weird thing was happening where my battery light came on and my seatbelt alarm kept going off even if the car was in park and the seatbelt was attached. And my remote start was also acting funny, so I scheduled an appointment to take it in Saturday after my first shift. The guy looked at it for 15 minutes, but by the time, of course, by the time I took it there, everything started working again normally. So I guess he thought I was fucking crazy. But everything hasn't been working since then, so I'm just gonna monitor it. Let's see. And then I got to my second shift, and I don't think I mentioned this, but 2 weeks ago, this thing appeared on my ankle, on my left ankle. And it started off as just, I think it was like a bug bite or something. But I think I've been wearing mid-top boots. I wear steel-toe Timberlands to work normally. And they've been rubbing that spot and making it really sore. So the first week it was bad. The second week it went away. And then this week it came back with a fury or a vengeance. And so I just wrapped it really tight. I've been putting Neosporin on it. And it really hasn't been bothering me, except for it's been pulsating as I've been trying to fall asleep. But that's just because of how tight I wrapped it. But I got to my second shift on Saturday, and I was going to change the bandages. And I took the bandages off, and all the blood rushed back into that part of my leg. And it was an excruciating burning sensation. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was already, like, towards the end of the week, I was already limping around to try to keep pressure off of it. But after I took the bandages off, I definitely wasn't going to be walking very far or very much. So I went to the supervisor who was there on Saturday, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go to urgent care. And that's what I did. So I go to urgent care, and I'm waiting for a while in the room, and they take a look at it, and they're like, well, let's drain it. And I was like, all right, well, let's drain it. And a little bit of backstory on me. I've got tattoos on the top of my feet, which is the most painful place to get a tattoo. I've been stung by a stingray once, and I've been branded before. 3rd-degree burn. And none of those have ever made me scream in pain before. But let me tell you, when this nurse lady was squeezing the shit out of my thing, it literally made me scream. It was the most painful thing I have ever felt in my entire life. Like, geez. Yeah. Like, when I got to the room, she pulled out, like, what literally just looked like a box cutter that was wrapped in plastic. You know, like a sterilized one. And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, this is gonna fucking suck. But yeah, she cut a slit into it and she squeezed the fuck out of it, and blood clots came out. So then she took a cotton swab and wanted to get a culture test sent off. So I signed off for that. So she fucking takes this cotton swab and she sticks it directly inside the wound and moves it around. And I'm like, holy shit, when is this gonna end? And then when that's all said and done, she's like, all right, now we've got to wash it out. So she gets out this like syringe and fills it with water, and on the end there's this little cup. And what the cup does is it seals around the wound as she pushes the water into the wound so it can go in and come back out. And so that fucking hurt too. It was the most painful experience I've ever had in my entire life. But as soon as it was over, all of the pressure out of my wound there, I instantly felt better. I can walk straight now. There is a little bit of pain. They put me on antibiotics, both a topical cream for the wound itself, and I have to change my bandages twice a day. And then I have an oral antibiotic as well. My test results came back yesterday, late in the day. I tested negative for all bacteria and funguses that they were worried about. So we're looking good. I do have to monitor it. If it does spread, I am supposed to go to the ER. But so far, I think we're Gucci. So after that whole ordeal, let's see. I also fasted again this week, and it's mostly because I ended my fast prematurely last week. Because honestly, we got towards the end of the week, I was really hungry, and then my night shift job, they bought us all pizza as a reward for hard work, you know, instead of giving us raises. It's always pizza. So, and I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to want to eat candy this weekend with it being Halloween. I'm going to this Halloween party I was invited to. I'm going to be drinking. That's caloric intake as well. Fuck it. I'll eat the pizza. It's free food. I'm trying to save money anyway. But at the beginning of this week, I did feel like I betrayed my intentions a little bit. So I wanted to do an entire week. And I did. I made it all the way through. And at the end of the week, I had a smorgasbord, like a charcuterie board, as I watched a couple movies in the back there. I watched Ken Park, which is a movie by Harmony Korine that came out in 2002. And I used to really like this movie because it's very avant-garde and it's very counterculture. But as I watched it this time, I was like, why did I ever like this movie? It's just like, he just throws anything that can be perceived as like bad or disgusting or just for the sake of the revulsion, you know, like the shock factor. He just throws everything he can in the movie, and it's not very artistic in the way he does it. It's just like an amalgam of immoral behavior and disgusting like, I was like, there's two scenes that I literally, one of them I averted my eyes because I've seen the movie like twice and I knew what was coming, and I was like, I can't even watch this. So then that scene passed, and then it got to another scene that I knew was coming, and I skipped it entirely. I'll probably never watch that movie again, and I don't recommend it. And then I watched Sling Blade for the first time, which really deviated from my expectations. I had never really heard anything concrete about the movie or its plot, but all I know about it is Billy Bob Thornton's like weird character where he makes this face and he talks like a Creole person. And in my head, for some reason, I cast him as like this like villain who's like getting out of prison and he's like hunting down someone with a vendetta, sort of like Cape Fear. That was the idea I had about this movie going in, and it just wasn't that at all. And I'm not gonna say it was a bad movie. I enjoyed it, but it was really long. It's kind of a slow burn, and you know, it's kind of just like a feel-goody, you know, movie. There's a little bit of a disturbing, you know, ending, but it's, I don't know. It was an alright movie. Out of 10, I give it like maybe a 6. What else? What do I got coming up? This coming weekend, I'm coming to Lexington for the Wells Thanksgiving. So I might not have a video out next week. In fact, I might not have a video out for the rest of the month. And it's mostly because these next 3 weeks are all like festivities. Like next week is Thanksgiving. The week after that is my birthday. I went and took my suit to the cleaners this weekend. And it's because the Friday before my birthday, I am going to see an orchestra. I'm going to go see Mozart's Requiem. And I'm super excited about that. And I went and bought a leather jacket because I don't own any cold weather clothes that like are like maintain the style of wearing a suit, and I didn't want to look like a doofus going to the orchestra, you know. So I've got that on Friday, and then Saturday I have a dinner at a really well-established steakhouse downtown Chicago at 4 o'clock when they open, and then afterwards I'm going to be taking the boat tour on the river, and there's a big fireworks show at Navy Pier. So if I do have a video, hopefully I take some good footage of that to show you guys. And then the week after that is when I fly to, you know, Cape Cod, Florida for Thanksgiving with my mom's side of the family, which is going to be super fun. That's about everything I have to say. Again, I won't be probably editing this at all. I'm just going to push it out. I've been trying to get into the habit of doing that anyway, just because it does take a lot of time to edit these videos. And it's already, I'm already at work right now. One sec. Forgot to put my key in the ignition with the remote start going. I'm already at work right now. I'm on my first break, in fact. I didn't make a video earlier because I was kind of determined. Let's see, where are you at? I was determined to finish this book, and I did, and it's great. It was very resourceful. I've got a lot out of it. I took a lot of notes, and instead of moving on to the orthodox book about the medieval theology that informs modern transhumanism, because that's going to be a monumental task, I think I'm gonna. Did you climb Twilight Mountain? I think I'm going to. I'm already doing it because I already started the first one, but I'm reading both of Mark Sedgwick's books on the traditionalist movement as well, and he's also he's regarded as, you know, the guy, the academic, the leading academic on traditionalism from like an outside perspective. I'm already like halfway through the first chapter in his first book, and I'm already adding more notes. I think I'm going to do those 2 books first, and I'm not really sure when I'm going to be starting the other one that I have, but who knows. Let's see. I believe that's everything. I think this week at work, I'm just going to work my way through the Tarkovsky films. He does Stalker, Solaris, The Mirror. They're well-regarded pieces of cinema if you're like a cinema nerd like I am. So I'm going to work my way through those. Actually, the movie I'm watching right now, Stalker, shooting that film probably is what killed him, because he did it in a, like a, I don't think it's a radioactive zone, but it's like, it was like a chemical dumping ground for like a large industrial plant that shut down where he shot the film. And I think the lead actor The director and the director's wife all died as a consequence from shooting this movie. So that sucks. But yeah, I'm watching Stalker right now. It's based off of a short story, or like a novelette. Is that what they're called? Called Roadside Picnic, which I highly recommend. I've listened to it twice now, and I really should get a physical copy of it. I highly recommend that as well. I've been getting really into science fiction recently, and it's mostly because through my study of philosophy, especially like 21st century and 20th century philosophy to an extent, a lot of it is informed by or influenced by sci-fi as a fictional genre. And it's very interesting that I keep running into this like through my studies. So I've began just like immersing myself a little bit into some more fiction now that I've worked through, 3 Cormac McCarthy novels. And I'm just trying to expand my, my circle of influences for when I start writing things. And, when I get that typewriter up and working. Actually, yeah, that's another thing. I got my typewriter this weekend, and I got my FOIC card, but I'll cut to that footage right after this.
Several hours earlier.
Just got my mail. I bet this one's a ticket. Let's find out what for. I was $75. No parking 2 to 6 a.m. Villa Park. Oh, I believe you. I was probably sleeping in there. Alright. I'll pay that today. This is from the state police, which means it should be yes, sirree. So this is my FOIC card. However, it appears that my concealed carry license hasn't been approved yet, because it says CCL no right here. But now I can have a gun. Now I can exercise my Second Amendment rights, guaranteed to me by the Constitution, but not by the state of Illinois. Fucking losers. This is from my job. I guarantee it's a birthday card. They quoted the Beatles song. This is the Olivetti Lettera 32 typewriter. Portable. It's a little bigger than I thought it was going to be. And it's kind of dirty. I think I'll take it apart and give it a really good cleaning. I think I like doing stuff like that, like cleaning my guns and stuff. Things that consist of a tiny little part, so like taking things apart, cleaning them, and putting it back together. Looks like the first key I pushed is sticky, but I just might need to clean the little recess. After I clean it, I'll do a functions test and see if I have to replace anything. I'm probably gonna have to replace this ink ribbon. But like I said last week, this is the same typewriter that Cormac McCarthy used to type all of his major novels. Now, I don't think it's gonna fit, now that I see how thick this heckin' chunk is. Because it's not gonna fit. Oh. No. Look. Oh well. They do make carrying cases for this because it's a portable typewriter. And I'll just use the briefcase to carry all of my stationery, my pads, and my fountain pens and stuff. I don't know what it is about analog technology. Like, there's a certain aesthetic appeal to it that I really enjoy. But also, like, just having the embodiment of your work in front of you and something you can physically touch. I don't know, it makes my brain work differently. Staring at a computer screen, I don't know, using a computer has the advantage of like being able to store a lot of things in a tiny amount of place and to be able to access it all at once. But because of that fluency and because of that convenience, I feel like you're making trade-offs in other areas, like creativity and I don't know, the way that you like logically approach the things that you're doing, because everything at a certain point becomes unconscious to me at a certain point. But yeah, that's my mail today. I can't wait to give this a really good cleaning. It's made in Spain. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. I can't wait to use it. I think Cormac McCarthy ended up selling his for like $280 something thousand. I got this one for like 100. I don't know who the fuck bought that. Having something like that's cool, yeah, but like $200,000 for a typewriter? You got me fucked up. But that's everything I got. I will see a lot of you next week. And for those who don't, if I don't post any more videos and I don't get to mention it, have a happy Thanksgiving. Love you. Peace out.